and good afternoon. Welcome to our very first Research Methods Twitch live stream. My name is Elisa Setmire and I'm your instructor. This is Twitch. If you've never been on here before, welcome. The best way to communicate with me during the live stream is if you have any questions or comments or thoughts, you can put them in the chat, and I am monitoring that on my phone. So if you put a question in there, I'll see it, and we'll try and answer that. Probably the biggest advantage of this time we have together is you have the ability to interact with me live, despite the fact that we're doing an online class together. So anyway, good afternoon. I hope you're all doing well. It has been an interesting week between the power outages and the winds and the fires. It's kind of been a lot, so I hope you're all doing all right and staying safe and hanging in there. Can you all hear and see me okay? I should have asked you that earlier, but could someone let me know in the chat? Is everything coming through all right? You can give me a thumbs up or a yes if you can hear and see me all right. I'll just wait a second just to make sure. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you so much for letting me know. I really appreciate it. I would hate it if you couldn't hear and see me. That would be awful. So thank you. Thank you. So what I would like to do today is just kind of walk you through our Canvas website, go over the syllabus and the mandatory lecture and all of that stuff. Just make sure that you're feeling good about the class and the way that it's organized. If you have questions at any point during that, feel free to put it in the chat and ask. I'll also talk a little bit about week number 1 since we have officially started at this point. So this is our Canvas page, and if you can make it to this point, you should be in really good shape. Everything that you need is either here or linked from here. So what you'll notice is on this home page, you have a bunch of little modules, and they're all hyperlinked. So, start here, there's some contact information, help and campus resources, course documents and videos, and then all of the weeks that we have together all the way till the very end of the semester. So really great place to start is right here where it says start here. Or you can go over on the left to modules, which I'm going to do so that I can start with the syllabus, which is the first thing that is listed for you. So here's the syllabus. Let's take a look at it together. And again, we're here for my research methods class. I do also teach intro psych. So if you saw that I was online a little while ago, live streaming a little while ago, that was for my intro psych class, which will be before this one usually. And you're welcome to join, but this one is obviously for research methods. So let's click on the syllabus and take a look at it together. And I'm not going to go through every little bit of this, but I do want to make sure you know what to expect. And as I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions at any point, please feel free to put it in the chat and I'll answer it for you. To the best of my ability, of course. So research methods or Psych 6. Here's my contact information. So my name is Elisa Setmire. Most people call me Setmire or Professor Setmire. You're more than welcome to brave my first name, which is Elisa. Any of those are fine. My email and phone number and office location are on here. I am way better at email than I am with the phone. The phone is in my office at school, and we're not even there this week because the power is off. So if you need something or have questions, please email me, as that is always going to be the fastest way. So I check my email a lot. I'll get back to you as quick as I can. My office hours I have listed on here. Also, obviously, these Twitch meetings are a great opportunity to interact with me as well. There's some information here if you need to get a hold of the department chair or the dean, and then a description with some objectives and learning outcomes. And I'm going to let you look over this piece right here on your own, but we're going to cover all of the kind of basic things related to research design and principles of behavioral science, reliability, validity, research ethics, kind of all of that stuff. And this is a very core required psychology class. And I know it can be a little bit challenging and maybe not the most fascinating compared to others, but I do think it's really important and hopefully it'll be interesting as we go along. The textbook that you need looks like this. So it's Research Methods in Psychology, 4th edition by Beth Moreling. And here's a picture. So definitely get the book, right? So I'm not going to be lecturing on everything. I have lectures that I'll give you, but they're supplementing what's in the textbook. So really important that you do have the book and that you're reading it. I know that textbooks are expensive. I don't know if any of you have purchased the book. So if any of you have purchased it, I don't know if you're willing to share in the chat, like where did you get it? Did you rent it? Did you buy it? How much? That might be helpful. I don't know if there's anywhere you can get it for free. The library does have a copy of it on reserve, but obviously the library is closed today. So hopefully they'll be opening the campus back up tomorrow. It's definitely been a very disrupted week. This week we're starting off really kind of light and easy. So if you don't have access to it this week, you're probably going to be fine. Hopefully by next week, if you can have access, that would be ideal. You can also find the older edition online, the third edition, for very, very, very cheap. And that would work as well if money is tight. But definitely get a copy of the book as soon as you can. You're probably also going to want to download the Canvas app and maybe even the Twitch app. Canvas is the platform that we're using through the school. And then I will be using Twitch for these live streams every week during the semester. So that might be a helpful one for you to have as well. And I'm at home, so sorry if you can hear my dog barking in the background. The second, like anything makes a sound, she barks. So sorry about that. But if a cat comes anywhere near me, I will grab them and bring them into the stream. You were able to rent it from the bookstore, $82. Okay, Chegg for $40. So obviously a big difference just there. Anybody else? Anybody else get it? Rent it? Buy it? The ebook is fine. The physical copy is fine. You can rent it. You can buy it. You can even, as I said, do the third edition if that's helpful. So definitely do a little research, right? Before you purchase it, just so that you don't, pay more than you need to. So try and get the book, download the Canvas and Twitch apps if you can. You'll obviously need access to a computer with internet capacity since it's an online class. Some codes of conduct and class policy kind of things. And again, I'm not going to go over like all of this, but I do want to make sure that you're feeling good and kind of know what to expect. I do want this to be a very like safe and welcoming space. So I know that we're not meeting in person, but let's always be really respectful and mindful of each other. We will be interacting here on Twitch and then also in the discussion forums. So just make sure, that we're always having an atmosphere of like safety and respect so that people feel welcome and safe to contribute. The biggest one here as well, other than that, is late work and like things being accepted late. So because this is a college class, obviously try to meet the deadlines. I have it set up where you have a decent amount of flexibility. You have the span of an entire week to complete the materials. So basically what will happen is Monday morning at 12:01 a.m., the week will open. So week 1 opened on Monday, and then it will close Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. So anytime between Monday and Sunday night, you can complete the materials that are due that week. But I am very, very strict about the deadline. And I'm going to be really upfront with you about that. I won't accept anything beyond the due date, not even like a minute, just to be fair and consistent. So if you email me at like 12:01 a.m. and say like, I missed it, here's my discussion, every single time I'm going to write back with like, I'm sorry, it's too late. Now, the exception to this is obviously life happens, right? We've seen that quite a bit this week. So if your power goes out, your internet goes out, you have an emergency, you have, something going on that's affecting your health, whether that's mentally or physically. If you reach out to me before the deadline, I am more than willing to give you an extension and work with you to the best of my ability. So if something comes up and you reach out to me Sunday at 11:57 p.m., it's still before the deadline, I will still work with you. So just please keep that in the back of your mind. That's kind of my one hard rule. If you need an extension, if you need more time, make sure you reach out to me before the deadline so that it's not too late. Okay? I'll feel really bad at 12:01 a.m., but it will be too late. Please don't copy or cheat or do any kind of, these things that are campus-wide policies. I put them on here for you to kind of review. In terms of our assignments and grades, your grade is made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different things. And the first one is due by this Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. along with everything from week 1. And that is a little mandatory orientation quiz. And this is just my way of making sure that you've logged in, you know what I'm expecting, you know the organization of the course, that you're started. And I'll talk and show you this more in a moment, but this is the really big first assignment. It's worth 10 points. Every week you will be in charge of discussions. So the discussion will be worth 15 points. And 13 of those are your responses to my questions, and then 2 your responses to a peer. Kind of think about these as mini papers. I think that helps a little bit. If you think about them as like a small paper, really elaborate in your responses, show off your knowledge and understanding of the materials. Always better to give me a little too much than not enough. And I'll show you, and we'll talk about discussion 1 in a little bit, but that makes up a really big part of your grade, 245 points. There are a couple of little self-assessments, 3 of them to be precise. Usually this will come the week after an exam, and they're just a chance to kind of reflect on your effort and progress and grades. And again, I'll show you those as we get closer, but there are 3 of those worth 15 points. There are 4 short homework assignments, each worth 25 points. They'll happen every few weeks, and they're going to reinforce the knowledge that you have gained and kind of everything that we're covering. I really recommend that you save copies of these and any work that you turn in, just in case, right? You never know when something might get, recorded incorrectly or not submitted. But the homework assignments are worth 100 points. You'll do a little experiment proposal project at the end of the semester. You're going to design a research experiment and then propose it and write up a paper about it, along with a little visual aid and a video. And that's worth 60 points. And then the rest of your points will come from 4 exams, each worth 50 points. So all of those things together, you can see kind of the breakdown of grades right here. It just adds up to points. And the exams, as a side note, when we get to the exam weeks, I'll talk about, how to prepare, how to study. I will give you a study guide for every single one. So I'll set you up for success, and we'll talk about some tips of how to do well. And they are open note and open book because you're taking them online. So hopefully all of these things, will allow you to be successful. That's really my hope. If every single one of you got an A, I would be so happy. But it's definitely going to involve a little bit of effort, but it will always set you up for success. If you have a memo with access, make sure you get that to me as soon as you can. So if you need extra time, I can get that set up. If you, need other resources, I can work with you. So send that to me, or have access, send that to me as soon as possible. And then there's some stuff here about like student tech support and college information, should you need it. I included some links and resources. And after that, what you'll see is just our schedule, right? So all the way to the end of the semester, way, way far away from now in May. But what will happen is each week, again, Monday morning, that week will open up all the way until Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. So for this week, for example, you can see the things that you're supposed to read, and then here are the different assignments that you need to complete. I've also organized all of these together under their weekly folders, but just if you want kind of a snapshot of what the semester will look like, you have it here. You can see when all the exams are, like the first one is in week 4. There's a homework assignment in week 3. So if you want to kind of map out your time and semester, it's all here for you right now, which hopefully is helpful. And then all the way at the bottom, there's a little bit just kind of reminding you that our weeks begin Monday morning and close Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. with our class ending in May 18th at 11:59 p.m. Seems far away, but I know it'll go fast. It always feels like it goes so fast in the end. So that's the syllabus. If we go back to that modules page where we found that, underneath the syllabus, you can find some textbook information. So again, here's the book that you need with the ISBN and all of that information. Make sure that you get that ordered as soon as you can. I did send out a welcome letter. I have it right here for you. So if you would like to kind of read through that, it was just to kind of help you get going and get started and introduce the class a little bit, all the stuff I'm going over today. There is a little rubric and sample posting. I made a video overview of Canvas just in case you were still feeling a little confused. And then you can also find the study guides here for the exams, which we'll talk more about when we get a little closer to one. If you scroll down to the next section, I've got a bunch of like help and campus resources that might be helpful. So I put together a list of frequently asked questions. So I always get the same questions, so I thought I'd put them together on here. And so if you're feeling confused, you could always check this and see if that's something somebody asked me. There's also a little student lounge. That sounds really fancy. It's just a discussion forum where you all can talk with each other. So if you want to kind of work together on things and communicate with each other, that's a great place to do it. There's some information here about how to set your Canvas notifications. So especially right now, right, with all of the power outages and everything going on, make sure that you're getting the messages from me and the messages from the school. You can set that all up, and I gave you some instructions on how. I'll come back to this one in a minute. How to find your grades. There's some more about technology and Canvas, student services, psych major information, just trying to give you access to all of that information that might be helpful. And again, I'll come back to the Twitch and YouTube thing in a moment. Once you've explored all of those resources, you have your book, you have the syllabus read through, you can go to the mandatory orientation lecture and quiz and introductions. So these things here are kind of like the precursor to week one, which we're currently in. And you can see week one is open, but not anything beyond that as of quite yet. We'll go 1 week at a time until the very end, in which case I might open things up a little early for you as we get to the end of the semester. But let's take a look at the mandatory orientation lecture. And I want to point out that it has multiple tabs up at the top. And that's something that you'll see with all of the lectures that I have for you. They all have like 3 or 5 tabs at the top. So just make sure you're exploring every single page. And you'll also see that there's always an audio at the top of the page. So if you would rather listen to me reading it to you, if you miss the sound of my voice, that's an option, or you can just read through it. But the first page here is an overview. Right, so you're going to want to read or listen to all of the pages. You're going to want to read through the syllabus, which we looked at briefly together. And then once you're done with this mandatory orientation lecture, you can complete the quiz. And we'll look at that after this so that you know where to go and how to do that. It's related to this lecture and the syllabus. I'd also really like you to find me on YouTube and Twitch. And I know this takes a minute to do. And I feel like we live in a culture where it's like click, like, subscribe with everything, right? But I want to make sure that you know how to find me on all of these different platforms. So YouTube, I think most people are super familiar with YouTube. Go to YouTube, subscribe just so you get all my videos, or follow me on there so that you can access it really easily. The one that is a little bit more effort is Twitch. Now, in my mind, I thought it would be kind of fun to use a very current platform. I thought it'd be kind of a cool way to use something more like, relatable or pop culture. I do realize it is a little complicated. So at the end of the semester, maybe you can give me your feedback on whether you liked it or not. But for now, I am using Twitch for our class. If you can subscribe to my Twitch channel, please do. And there's a lot of reasons for why I'm pushing this. Some of them help me and some of them help you. And I've given you instructions on how to do this for free. If anyone in your family has Amazon Prime, you can link your account for free. I'd really rather you not pay for this if you don't have to. But please try and subscribe on Twitch, and you're welcome to figure that out now while we're on here together. That's totally fine. But the biggest thing for you is it allows you to have less ads, right? Ads are obnoxious. You'll have one at the beginning and you shouldn't have any more of them. You can get notifications of when I'm on. You get a little football cake next to your name. In terms of on my end, it saves me so much time. So I really greatly appreciate those of you who do this. I know it takes a few minutes to set it up, but I can download a list of all of you who are on here instead of having to manually find your name and match it to your Twitch name. So it saves me an incredible amount of time. So I really greatly appreciate that. The other big thing that I forgot to mention, if you can't make these live streams live, if you're watching this later as a recording, because they will always be recorded, you can still answer the extra credit question for points if you are subscribed. So you can join me live and do the extra credit, or you can watch it later as a recording if you're subscribed and still get the extra credit. So follow the instructions. It's on a page that was on the previous module that I'll show you again in a minute. But please take a moment to find me and do those things. The next page talks a little bit about the course, and as I mentioned earlier, it'll open each week, 1 week at a time, and each week you'll be in charge of reading a chapter or a portion of a chapter. You'll go through the lecture, you'll watch the lecture video, and then you'll do the discussion. And then some weeks you'll have a homework assignment, some weeks you'll have an exam or an assessment, but we'll have a pretty consistent format. I'm really big on consistency. It makes it easy to remember. So 1 chapter or so each week with 3 things to do. You'll read it in the book, you'll go through the lecture and watch the lecture video. And then discussions as well. I give you a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Elisa. You can call me that, or you can call me Professor Setmire. I'm a huge fan of the holidays. I'm a huge fan of escape rooms and outside. I have 5 cats and a dog. I put a couple of shows in here that I really love. I feel like I hear this the Squid Games like song in the back of my head right now because I have three little girls who are obsessed with it. But I gave you a little bit about myself just so you can know the person teaching the class. So hopefully give you a little bit of background that might be helpful. There's a page about computer and internet settings should you need a little bit of help there. And then on the very last page, I have a help page. And on here, you have the number for Canvas, should you need help with Canvas related stuff. There's the link to the Moorpark College Distance Ed site. And then, of course, if you're ever struggling, email me. I'm here. Reach out to me. If you need to make an appointment to meet with me, we can do that over Zoom or even in person. I am here and I'm happy to help. So if you're confused, I will never know unless you reach out to me. So please send me a quick email and we can go from there. Okay, so I went through that kind of quickly, but make sure you kind of scroll through it on your own, read through all the stuff in there. If I give you links, click on them. If I give you videos, watch them. Everything's meant to kind of help you understand the materials. Once you have read through the syllabus and that, you can take the little quiz, which is due this weekend. And all of our quizzes and exams will be right here on Canvas. And as a side note, I have written all of them, so they should match up really beautifully to the materials we are covering. I will never trick you. Hopefully they're very clear and straightforward. So for example, this one is really quick. It's 10 questions, 10 points. You have 15 minutes, you get one attempt. So with all of these, you only get one attempt. So always make sure that you're ready and organized before you begin. You can use your notes, you can use your book, but make sure you're watching the time. So for example, when you're ready, you'll click take the quiz. When you have good internet, you have 10 minutes to spare, 15 minutes to spare. And so what you'll see here is you're going to go through and answer these, right? Our course weeks begin on Monday at 12:01 a.m. and end Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Which of the following is not true about your instructor? That I hate football. I love football so much, right? So you're going to go through all of these. And then the last one here is like a short answer. So you're going to give me your Twitch and YouTube names. And then when you're ready, you'll hit submit quiz. Now it's like, oh, you didn't answer all of them. It will remind you. Oh, and I also want to point out too that if you're up here, you can see the little clock ticking right here in the corner. So just be really mindful of your time. But once you're done, you'll hit submit. And it will give you a score right away, which is the nice thing, minus any like short answer questions that I need to grade. I got a shameful 2 out of 10, but I only attempted 2, so I'm going to go ahead and say I did okay. And this score will show up automatically in the grade book, so you can see that it's done and completed. Okay, so make sure you do that. And then there's also a little introductions discussion just to help me get to know you, your name, why you're in the class, if you want to share a picture. All of these things are kind of like getting into the swing of it. And then once you've done all that, you can start week number 1. And that's kind of the last big thing I want to go over with you is what we have this week and what you need to do and then all of that. But before I get into that, any questions so far? I know I'm talking so much. Normally these will only be like 20 to 30 minutes max. This one's a little longer just because I want to make sure that you are feeling good about the class. So any questions, anything so far before I keep going? I'll wait just a moment, usually like 30 seconds or so behind me. I'm laughing because all my cats are like hiding over there. They know better than to come anywhere near me. So anyway, if you think of a question, please feel free to put it in the chat. Otherwise, as of Monday, we are in week number 1. We have officially started week number 1. So for each week, again, you'll generally have a chapter or like a portion of a chapter to read. Some of them I've divided into 2 parts just because it's a lot of information. So this week we are looking at chapter number 1. And there are 3 things that I want you to do with every single chapter. I laugh because my kids make fun of me for holding up 3 this way, but I don't know, it must be like a Hungarian German thing. I don't know, 3. So first thing you'll want to do is you're going to want to read the chapter in the textbook. Second thing is to go through the lecture. And third thing is to watch the lecture video. If you do those 3 things, then you'll be in really good shape for understanding the materials. They all go together, and I've created all of them together. So read through the chapter in the book, and then you'll look at the lecture. And the lectures are pretty brief, but it's highlighting things that are important, giving you extra resources, sometimes some videos and links. So the first page, see how there's 3 at the top, is objectives and summary. So this is like a summary of what you're going to cover with some helpful images and diagrams. You can listen to it if you would like. I have gone through and read each one of these and recorded it. The second page is beyond the book. So again, you can listen to it if you want. This was all about being a critical or smart consumer of information. There are two little videos down here that I think are really helpful. If I give you a video, watch it. If I give you a link, click on it. And then the last page is just going to be key terms. So these are the terms from chapter 1 that you'll need to know for the exam. So if you wanted to start studying like 1 week at a time or make flashcards 1 week at a time, rather than making you wait till you get the study guide, you could start with the stuff we're covering right now. So read through all of that, click on all of that, go through the lecture. And then there is a lecture video with PowerPoint slides. So this is me lecturing with slides. You'll see my little face up at the top, slides in the background. Some of these are longer or shorter than others. But this is me giving you that information with some slides to help support it, as like a traditional lecture. And you might want to pay attention, take notes. The stuff in here will definitely appear on the exam. Hopefully it'll really help you with understanding some of the key features that we're covering. So those are the 3 things to do for each chapter. And then once you've done those 3 things, you can do the discussion. And you'll have a discussion every single week. Let's take a look at discussion number 1, which is due by this Sunday night. And you'll see they always follow the same format, right? So you'll have my instructions and requirements, a video, and then the prompt. And some of the videos are a little bit older than others. Some are more new. So you can laugh at the differences in my hair, and some of them were during COVID, and so they're kind of all over the place. But what I have for you here is instructions. So watch the little video, answer all of the questions that are below, and you're going to want to be really like comprehensive in your responses. Show me that you understand the materials, that you can apply them. Think about it more like a mini paper, right? It's always better to give me too much than not enough. You're also going to read through 5 of your classmates' posts and respond to one of them for 2 points. So in total, as it says right here, the discussion is worth a total of 15 points, 13 for your responses to my questions and 2 for your responses to a peer. Okay, so there's kind of 2 pieces to every single discussion. The videos should be really helpful for you. It's me going through the prompt in a little more detail, giving you some tips and suggestions. I also gave you a link here if you want to see like a sample posting so you can see what I'm expecting. So here's prompt number 1, right? This one's all about chapter 1 on ways of thinking. And so you're going to answer these 3 questions by hitting reply as soon as you're ready. And you can see a few people have already done this, right? So we've got a bunch of people who've done it already, like 5 or 6 of you. And so when you're ready to answer it, you'll hit reply, you'll type up your response, and not a bad idea to save it just in case if something goes wrong and you have it saved. That's always nice, right? And then you're going to reply to one of your classmates. So let's say I really like what Katie had to say. I could reply right here to Katie, right? Or if I really like what Thais had to say, I could reply, right? So really important to not only do my questions, but get those 2 easy points for replying to a classmate. And you're going to have a discussion every single week. Again, those like kind of mini paper kind of things. This week, that's it, right? We have chapter 1 lecture, lecture video, and discussion. I'll always post the recording of these live streams. It takes me a little bit to download it and then upload it, but it will be posted here later today. There's always going to be a little wrap-up checklist. So if you want to make sure that you did everything that's required, you can see the list here. It's also on the syllabus, and it's also everything under this week. So everything is organized together to try and make it really clear. Other than that, I have a couple of reminders for you, and then I'll show you how to get the extra credit for joining me live, or if you're subscribed and watching this later. Before I give you my reminders, are there any questions, or maybe as I'm giving you the reminders, if you have any questions, this is a great time to ask. I'll always also give you about 5 minutes at the very end. If you have questions, I'll hang out, and that's a good time as well. So I had typed this up earlier, so I'm going to put it in the chat. Don't forget to take a moment today or tomorrow, sometime soon. Find me on Twitch and YouTube and subscribe. Get that set up. Only like 4 or 5 people have done it. And there are like 50 of you in the class. So if you could take some time to do that today or tomorrow, I would really appreciate it. The other reminder I have for you, I'm going to put this in the chat. Our next Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday, January 22nd at 1 o'clock p.m. Okay, so our live streams will generally be at the same time each week just for consistency. And again, if you can't make it live, they will always be recorded and you'll be able to watch it later. And if you still want to get extra credit for joining me, as long as you're subscribed, you can still do that. Otherwise, let me give you the extra credit question, and I always write them out ahead of time to help myself out. So I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat. This is the week number 1 Twitch extra credit question. So I'm putting it in the chat and then I'll show you how to answer it. Okay, so week number 1, extra credit. Name and describe 2 to 3 characteristics of good scientific theories. Name and describe 2 to 3 characteristics of good scientific theories. And so when you're ready to answer that, you'll go over to Canvas and see how it says optional Twitch extra credit number 1. We're in week 1, so it's extra credit number 1. You'll click on that. And then up at the top, there's this little blue button that says Start Assignment. You'll also notice there's some instructions here. So if you're joining me live right now, make sure your first and last name's in the chat somewhere. Unless you're subscribed, then you don't need to worry about it. If you're watching this later as a recording, make sure you're subscribed and then you're set. And then you will answer that question. So you'll click on Start Assignment, and then you can type your response right here in the box. And as soon as you're good, you'll hit Submit. You get a little confetti burst and horseshoes. It's different every time, and it's like my little fun thing to look forward to. What's it going to be? It's always so random. So if you do every single one of these, it comes out to like 30 something points of extra credit. That would be enough to make up for 2 missed discussions, for maybe not the best exam score or not the best homework assignment score. That extra credit will really add up. So I definitely encourage you to take advantage of it. And again, if you can't join me at this time, I know a lot of people can't. It's in the middle of the day and you're working or in school or whatnot. You can still do that as long as you're subscribed. Okay? So those are the big things for now. I've gone over everything for week number 1. If you haven't already gotten your book, make sure you get your book. Start on the syllabus, start on the mandatory orientation lecture and quiz, and then get going on week number 1. Right? And what we'll do next week, in week 2, when I see you, is I will go over some feedback from how your grades were and what I saw this week. We'll talk about what's due next week. I'll go through the discussion, and it'll be much shorter because we won't be going through the whole class. So what I'll do for these last like few minutes here is I'll just kind of hang out. And no worries about being late, better late than never. What I'll do is I'll hang out for a few minutes. If you have any questions about the class, about the organization of anything, please feel free to ask. This is a wonderful chance to do that live. If you're feeling good about everything, you can go ahead and go get started. Go find me on Twitch and all that stuff like we talked about. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Hang in there with this craziness that we have going on. Hang in there, stay safe. And if you have any questions, I'm here. Okay, I am gonna minimize my video just so I'm not staring at myself. But thank you so much for joining me live or even watching this later. Okay, so somebody said you're having a hard time subscribing. You do have Prime, so you've done almost all of it. Like you have the little like Prime thing next to your name. Angela, you almost have done all of it. You just need to do that last piece. So I gave you instructions, and there's also a little video here. Let me show you where. So if you go to modules, and then you scroll down right here to where it says subscribing to my Twitch and YouTube channels, on this page there's a step-by-step instructions, and then at the very bottom a little video. Okay, so hopefully between the video and that it helps you out. And if you can't figure it out, you can't figure it out, but see if you can follow that. It shouldn't be too bad, but I know it is a couple of steps to get there. Good, I'm glad it was helpful and informative. And if you're confused or have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm definitely here. Yes, so it's going to either be off the textbook or the lecture. This is one that you could find in both in the lecture and the textbook. So it's usually going to be probably like a very big concept from the week, which is definitely the case this week. Of course, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. And I am still here. If any of you have questions, I've just minimized my video so I wasn't staring staring at myself, but I am still here. No worries. I'm glad you made it at least for a few minutes. And again, the recording of this will be posted within the hour, probably on Canvas, so you'll be able to go back and watch what you missed. All right, I'll hang out for a couple more minutes if you think of anything, and if not, of course, you can always email me later. All right, everyone, it looks like most of you have logged off, so I'm going to go ahead and close this up so I can start the upload download process. Have a wonderful week, and if you think of any questions, of course, feel free to email me whenever.